Robin Slow Show.
Hi, this is Kelley.
Kelley Williams-Bolar, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. From Akron, Ohio, correct?
That's right, Akron, Ohio.
It's been at least a year since we've last spoken. What have you been up to in that time, Kelley?
Yes. Oh my gosh, so much has been going on since then. Um, you know, I don't know. How should I start off? Should I
Well,
start off, giving people an update? Maybe
that,
people don't know.
I was just gonna say, yeah, just for our listeners not familiar with the story, you were sentenced to prison in 2011 for you used your father's address to get your daughters in a better school, correct? But you were staying with him, and the place if
Yeah,
I remember
and
correctly, you said where you were living, you had somebody that broke in.
right. That's totally correct. Everything you just said was totally correct. And I remember, of course, I was found out, and so I had, removed them from the school. And almost 18 months later, me and my father received indictments, and so that's when the process began. And I went to jail. He went to jail. He
Oh,
died in jail. He never
yes,
came home,
I do remember that.
and it was just a very hard time, and we went through a depression. I definitely suffered depression. And then, I just started, telling my story. People were contacting me, and they wanted me to, start, expressing this and telling my story. And so that's what, so, as far as like recently or the past couple of years, I've been, going to churches, communities, different functions, conferences, different organizations, colleges, and just speaking and telling my story, telling what happened. And, for people that do suffer depression, normally it's from something traumatic. And I honestly believe that, not to say that we are all meant to tell our stories, but I'm going to tell you something. Since I have been able to communicate and tell my stories with people, I totally feel therapeutic, some kind of healing through that. And not only me, it does a service. You understand? Like, it does a service, not just to me, but to the listeners,
Yeah.
to understand that we all go through trials and tribulations, which I don't say trials and tribulations anymore. I don't like to say that. What I honestly like to say is that I like to use the word testimony, versus trials and tribulations, because I just think testimony sounds a little bit more lighter, more better. And so I like to say that a lot. And I honestly believe that it helps on so many levels. And so I always tell people, when you're going through something, it's a learning process. And I mean, believe me, I felt like an ant in a great big world where so much stuff was going on. People, it was just, and then in recent months, you had the actresses out there in California,
I was going to
and
ask
then
you
they
about
put
that.
my, hmm
I was going
go
to ask how
ahead.
you felt about the college admission scandal with, what was it, Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman.
Yes. And so that was interesting in itself, because when it first happened, Time Magazine had called me, one of the writers, and I was on the phone with her while the first one was in court. And she was just telling me everything, every moment. She was telling me exactly what was going on, and that they were just going to let her go home, maybe, do some kind of community service or something like that. But the prosecutors were saying, well, in the case of Kelley Williams-Bolar from Akron, Ohio, we must do something more than just that.
So
To,
they
to,
referred to you
to,
in that case.
I'm sorry,
They
what you say?
referred to you in that case.
Yes, it was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Wow, because I saw it brought
It,
up in tweets and all that. I didn't know it was actually like brought up in the court.
I'm telling you, it was amazing. I couldn't believe it. Um,
Wow.
but then, I thought, okay, so, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, or I would never judge these women, those ladies. I mean, many people came to me and wanted to know my thoughts, on that. And at the end of the day, not just because they did that with as far as education, But it's just, it's just hard to always, point the finger at someone. And, old folks always said, you point one finger at somebody else and three fingers are pointing back at you.
Yep.
So it's like, it's not always, just listen. I think a lot of times you just listen and you observe, and that's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
And just know that point is interesting, what happened with them.
I was going to ask you too, almost 10 years after your incident, have things gotten better or worse or about the same for you?
As far as for me personally, my life, I think I'm okay. I think, I'm average. I'm doing pretty good. I have my moments, but I think I'm doing exceptionally well. And again, like I said, I have things coming up, and if people want to contact through your podcast, they think that they may want me to come and tell my story at their organization or the youth or whatever, then, I would be obliged to do so, because I really, truly feel that you must tell your story no matter what it is. You may not be ready to, it may be years from now, but at one point I think that it's good because it's therapeutic for you and it's therapeutic for the listener. It helps to heal, and it begins the healing process. So now I'm traveling. Let's see, I think I go to D.C. in 3 weeks, and then I go to Chicago from there. Then I go to Arizona, then to St. Lucia, Florida.
Wow. That's a full schedule.
Yes, it is. And then St. Petersburg. So, and I'm sure I'm maybe missing somebody, but right now that's what I'm doing. So,
cool.
And it's interesting. It's fun. Most of the organizations or people who, grassroots, they're just trying to get their life, their organization up. But they contacted me, and they feel a need. They feel a need for me to tell my story. We are in, that was in 2011. And that lets you know how important education is, because we are now in 2020 and it's still very relevant.
That's what I was going to ask too. Do you feel like that's improved or stayed the same or gotten worse? Education,
sometimes, I wonder, because it's just, you hear things across the country. Something happens in California versus New York and versus Midwest or whatever, and it's always something going on. I think that it'd be great in some areas. Back in the day, we had little churches. Everybody went to church, kind of like Little House on the Prairie. Everybody's education was all through church, and it almost makes you. But it almost makes you wonder, why not put it back there? Because right now it's so facilitated. It's nothing but a business.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a business, and with being that it's a business, they just make it seem like, I don't know.
Put the fear of God in them.
Put the fear of God in them. That's right. Because I also work at a high school. I work with students with behaviors. I work with kids with behaviors who have behavior issues, and that's interesting as well.
That is. What is something you could do in a child's life? Even the smallest thing. What's something that you feel you could do to make that child have a better time or a better experience in school?
Honestly, there's many things you can do. I think you have to break down their barriers. Many kids, they're coming to school with so much stuff that they have to endure. Maybe they're in foster care. Maybe they're living with their grandparents. Maybe their parents are on, major, some kind of major drugs or something. So you don't never know what the socioeconomic background of these kids are. So you have to just get to learn them. You have to build your trust, so they can trust you. I think that's very important for them to build trust, and that they know that maybe they can confide in you, and that they know that you won't just go run and tell everything, because I think that's really important,
That's good. Yeah, really even as a father, like sometimes even talking to my kids, it's like pulling teeth, getting them to just talk to me. Like I'll be like, I love you, and they'll be like, okay.
Yeah,
It's like,
absolutely.
wow. Show me the emotion I showed you, dude.
These kids are something else. These kids are something else. They a lot of times with and now if it's a girl, like, do you have daughters?
No, just sons.
Just sons. Okay. Yeah, well, you know how that goes with boys. They so they
I
don't
mean,
want they want to act like they're little men. You know.
yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
I was talking earlier too at the beginning of the show. My sons, my older two are 12 and 13, and they feel like they're professional wrestlers, and one of them did something called a spine buster to the other one and broke his collarbone. Like they're just
Oh no.
they're like little warriors. Like
The best part of the story is that the kid that broke the kid's collarbone was like, I did the move wrong.
oh yeah, Daddy, I did the spine buster, but I did it wrong. Like,
Yeah, I messed up. I slipped. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
It wasn't the fact there wasn't a ring or anything, and I did it on concrete.
I
It
didn't
just-
have the proper training, Dad.
and my
Well, you
finger
know-
was just in the wrong spot. Like,
My God, that is something, and not to that is hilarious. But I have to say something. That just brings me back to when this is going to take you for a loop. When I was married, my ex-husband, he was a great wrestler, and I remember one day, and this is I probably shouldn't be. This might be too much information. I remember, he got upset because I was on the phone. He was very, very. He was just different. But anyway, he got upset because I was on the telephone. It was Saturday morning. I was just having a great time, and I guess he wanted me to be off the phone on a Saturday morning.
Wow.
And so next thing you know, he started fighting. He started grabbing me and just being really, crazy and mean and stuff. And it's just funny you said that because he did some kind of, I didn't know what it was because, I never even watched wrestling. And to come to find out later on, he had told me that it was some kind of crazy move that they do in wrestling. I'm like, well, why would you do that to me?
Right.
And so, yeah, absolutely.
And just because you were on the phone, he didn't want you on the phone.
Yep, he was mad. He was jealous because I was on the telephone with my best friend who I had grown up with. It was, so yeah, and I don't mind, I don't mind disclosing certain things because I feel that, I feel it's okay because I I'm not the only person out there that has been through things, and I like I said, I always tell certain things. Honestly, in all honesty, I don't think I've ever told anyone that, especially on the radio station. But
Yeah.
it's okay because you don't never know who's listening, and at that moment, it could help someone else.
That's the thing too. Yeah, I mean, me and my ex-wife are really good friends now. We've worked on that over the past year, but yeah, no, our marriage was rough. It was definitely some things from both of us too. That's the other thing. Like you do realize as you get older, like yeah, no, I was not perfect.
Absolutely. I really feel honored. I really thank you guys for letting me on tonight and talking. That right there, I'm just very humble. I really appreciate it.
No problem. I appreciate you coming on, Kelley.
Absolutely. Thank you.
What I didn't know. You said you worked with schools now, correct? Because I remember originally, I think the judge sentenced that you couldn't work in education, correct?
Right. Well, she was trying to, but of course, the governor got involved because he was like, you can't send every mom to jail for district jumping. Like that wouldn't even be logical. So
Right.
he gave me a second chance. And at the time, that was Ohio's governor, John Kasich. I'll never forget him. He really truly gave me a second chance in life, second opportunity, and I really appreciate him for that. And so, I was able to keep my position at the high school I work at.
Okay.
And I will be forever grateful to that governor.
That speaks volumes for a politician just to step in like that and make that kind of a decision and that kind of a judgment.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And his wife, actually, it was his wife. His wife, I guess some kind of way she saw it on the news or whatever, and she told him, she said, you have to do something about that. That's no way that mom should be going to jail for this. or having a felony for the rest of her life.
Yeah,
district now.
It was such an extreme, judgment for just something that's, maybe in your eyes it's not right, but does it warrant that? Like, no, not at all. Not at all.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Of the crimes that a person can commit.
Yes, that's what I mean. People murder people.
Right. All the things that people can can happen, and then they want to, that just didn't fly with many people. Not just with, it was horrible.
Yeah, no, you were just looking out for your children. Yeah, no, anybody would do that in that position.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And just like you mentioned earlier, that your father. And what was it when your father was in prison? Did he not get the attention medically that he needed when he passed?
Yeah, we don't think that he did. Of course, it was not disclosed, everything. And of course, when a situation like that, you don't get all the information.
Yeah.
So we don't really know everything, all the details, and I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do know that we tried, and luckily we were able to bring his body home, so he didn't have to cause he had never been to jail before. Before that, so
we were talking. I don't know if you know the actor. His name is Escalante Lundy, and we talked to him last week, and he's got a film and a documentary coming out called "The Cry for Help," and it's just about being a black person in the United States and how the judicial system can work against you. And he just mentioned that. Yeah, if you go to jail, it affects your family, it affects your kids, your grandkids. It could just cause a spiral that causes so many things.
So many different things, and what do you do? Oh my gosh, I know when I was in there, I just kept reading the Psalms. I had certain Psalms that I would read, like 23rd, 91. I think it was 27. And I stayed on those. Of course, I was at the county. They didn't send me to the penitentiary. And thank goodness they didn't.
Yeah.
But, still, if I had, when I came out, of course, I was on probation for 2 years. And, I was on probation for like 2 years or 3. Was it 3? It's been so long now.
Yeah.
But it was difficult, very, very difficult.
I can imagine. How long were you in prison for?
I was sentenced to just 10 days in the county. But let me tell you something. If you never, ever, 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 ever been to jail, and I was like 39,
Yeah.
That's traumatic.
I've been in for a day, and it was like it felt like a month. It felt like a long time. It was rough. It was rough. Just a stupid day.
Oh man.
Exactly. It was a stupid day.
A stupid day, and we're waiting for everything to be processed. Like I knew I was getting bailed out and all that, but I was just there, and I was dealing with some dude's staring at me angrily for my English muffin at breakfast. It was stupid. It was stupid and it sucked. It sucked for the day. I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
No. No. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna tell you something. It's so funny. When I got ready to go to jail, I don't know if you remember this footage. I don't know if you saw the footage or not. I was screaming, literally screaming.
Yes.
And literally, not even 6 months later, you ever heard of Tyler Perry?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He did a movie, and it was something called Madea Goes to Jail. If you watch that scene,
No.
I'm trying to tell you, he took what happened to my horrible moment and he used it for his thing.
Oh, no.
I'm telling you.
You should sue him. If there's actual footage of you doing that before he created the movie.
Footage. Yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah, but he owes you. He owes you.
People love that he went off to jail screaming and kicking, and I'm looking like, wait a minute, I just did that 6 months ago, and it was real.
He saw that, and he was like, that's the way to pull it off. That's the way to pull off believability.
Right, exactly. Oh my God, I was livid. I was like, I just can't believe he just did that.
Fucking Tyler.
God damn it. God damn Tyler Perry.
He got millions and millions and millions for it. Okay, I'm still $100,000 in the hole from college fees.
I want some residuals, Tyler. Come on.
Man, oh my gosh, I was just like, but yeah. So I mean, it's been an experience. Everything that I've ever done since then has been unprecedented. Like, it's untreaded territory. It's like I'm always receiving opportunities, and I just honestly believe that when you go through things and you let God handle it, or whoever whatever divine order that you believe in. Okay, I honestly believe if you let Him work through you, then you don't know where you're going to go in life. You just don't know. But you have to be open and willing to be a service, because anytime you give service to anything or anyone, it comes back to you positive, in forces that we don't even understand. But we have to be open. I could have shut down, and I could have been like, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to talk to anyone, I'm just going to go over here in my little hole and suck my thumb and cry in a fetal position, and then you have to admit somewhere. I could have done that easily.
Yeah,
I felt it. I honestly felt that on many, many days. Like, I replayed so many different scenarios on so many. I haven't replayed my relationships. I haven't replayed my relationship with my ex-husband. I haven't replayed anything as much as I replayed those moments at that time in my life. And so, and like I said, so being that did happen to me, I feel that I remember when it hadn't even come to its peak yet. Okay, but I just remember falling on my knees literally, because to go and receive felonies and be and go to jail, and the whole entire country knew about this situation. Matter of fact, it was global. Because people from UK and Australia and different places were calling me and asking me and wanting to communicate with me about it. So my thing is, when you feel like you're just this tiny little thing, and then you hear so many mean people that say so many mean things about me or my kids, and they don't even know me. Like, I was reading comments. And that's the last thing you should ever do.
The worst thing you should do. Yes. Just talking on something that happened in my family a year or so ago. Yeah. I remember my mom was like reading comments on the thing that happened, and it was like, don't do that. Like, don't.
Yeah. Right. You can't do that, because it was some of the meanest people. They didn't know me from Adam, and boy, they already had me handpicked. They already knew everything about my whole entire life, and they didn't. But they just, off this one moment in my life, they just took that and they ran with it, and they just did some of the meanest things. I mean, the meanest things. And then you got people bickering, going back and forth. You got people that are defending me, which was beautiful, but then now their blood pressure's to the ceiling. So
yes. Anybody in that position is gonna. You back a dog in the corner. He's gonna bite you. Yep. So it's ugly, but like I say, I totally cannot express to your listeners, even if you don't want to right away, start journaling, start writing things down. I'm telling you how therapeutic that is. I was never a writer or a person that journaled or jot down anything. I used to do those little doodle. I used to doodle, where you just draw little circles or little flowers or stuff like that. That would be my passive if I was going to do anything on paper. As being a grown adult, I never would journal, but I began journaling, and I was like, this is great. I ended up journaling so much, I made my autobiography. I made a book, and I had that on display, and I've taken it down. I think it used to be on Amazon, but I need to do some different things to it now so I can update people. But I'm telling you, I was just a mom from Ohio, working as a teacher assistant in Akron, and to know that I actually have a book. That's amazing.
That's big.
Kelley, we have to wrap this up. Yes, we have to wrap this up, and it's been an amazing time talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. And please call me back next time. Call me back. I'd love to come back.
We'll definitely have you back. Where can everybody find you?
Okay, they can email me. That's my whole full name. It's Kelley Williams-Bolar at gmail.com, and that's Kelley KelleyWilliams Bolar BOLAR at gmail.com. Don't ask me why I did that, but I did it. So it's Kelley Williams-Bolar at gmail.com. They can find me on Facebook, Instant Messenger, Twitter, Kelley W. Bolar on Twitter. So yeah, hey, look me up. Just have a conversation with me. Even if you just want to call to talk about something, I will not disclose it. I won't telephone. But if you got something that you want to talk to me about that's been on your heart and weighing on you, and it's making you feel like you think you just want to explode, you can always confide in me. Just send me a letter.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelley.
All right. Take care. Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye-bye, y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye. So cool. We'll be back with Brant Tobler.